another episode of Vital Vinyl. Joining me today is my very special guest, my sunburned skin. Yay! Because I was out at a parade. I was actually in a parade called Barkus, where me and my wife and my daughter and my dog dressed up as the volleyball scene from Top Gun. Because the theme of the parade was Top Dog, and it was all Top Gun theme, so you'd dress up and stuff like that. So that's what we did. We found some t-shirts that look like muscular men's chests, and we wore those. Pretty cool. But it was so cold outside that I forgot to put on sunscreen, and also forgot, like I do every other time that I go out, that I'm pale as fuck, and so I get sunburned really easy. Yay. So, shit hurts right now. Alright, today, let's see. We've talked in the past about Danzig. We've talked a little bit about Misfits, but not too much because I don't have any of their albums on vinyl at the present time. But I might get some in the future. Or maybe I'll talk about it whenever I run out of records and switch to talking about stuff on my iPod. So today we're going to talk about the project in between Misfits and Danzig. Danzig's middle band only put out a few albums and an EP, and I've got two of their albums right here. The band is called Samhain. The albums I have are Initium and November Coming Fire. Well, technically it's pronounced Samhain. Whatever. I've seen interviews that Danzig did both when he was with Samhain and he called the band Samhain. And then I saw another interview when he was Danzig, and was asked about Samhain, and he didn't go, "Oh, well, actually, man, it's all Samhain." And I know if you sort of listen to some of the lyrics, it kind of sounds like he could be saying Samhain or Samhain, because Danzig just kind of doesn't really pronunciate all the words or all the syllables, so it just sort of comes out and sounds like Samhain. So. But anyway, Samhain, short for Samuel Hainesy, or Samuel Heinous, or Samuel H. Anus, or some Harry Anus. I don't know. It's 2:30 in the morning. All right. So I had these on vinyl back when I was a little skateboard 14-year-old skater punk back in 1988, collecting records until 2005 when Hurricane Katrina came, and since I'm from New Orleans, it washed all my records away. The ones that I had, they were not like the original pressings, but they were like official pressings from Caroline Records or Plan 9 Records, or a combination of Caroline and Plan 9. I don't know. I know Plan 9 was Danzig's personal label. I don't remember what Caroline Records was. It might have been like a division, like an indie imprint of a major label. I don't really remember because that was so long ago. But I think some other bands, like maybe Bad Brains, put out something on Caroline. Maybe COC. But these are not those, because even those that I had are like way out of print. So these were, or are, bootlegs. They're unofficial pressings. Got them from a place online called Ear Candy Records. Their website is earcandy.biz, and I think they might even have like a Lucifuge record as well, an unofficial pressing. But I would like to pick that up one day because I like that album as well. And because, as it turns out, I know I talked about how my first Danzig album is also an unofficial pressing, but it sounds fine, blah, blah, blah. It actually, upon further listening and closer listening and louder listening, it does sound a little warped sounding. I don't know if that's a record itself or just a shitty rip that they did to make the album. But these two, from what I can tell, sound very, very good. They sound even better than the ones that I had back in what the kids called the day. Because I do remember that these were like really muffled sounding, and I initially thought that it was my turntable that I had at the time, which was a Radio Shack Clarinet 124. Look it up. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. It was an all-in-one, looked like, a standard piece of component stereo thing, but it had radio in it, double cassette, and you could open it up and it was a record player on top. So it had like everything all in one piece. Didn't have CDs because I think CDs were only like a few years old at this point. I got this like for real in like 1988. And it had like these crappy little companion speakers that went with it. So even though Radio Shack did put out like a lot of good stuff, like that 8-track player behind me, and my black Optimus receiver that I showed in some earlier video, though that's actually just a rebranded Pioneer. And also, let's see, will I tilt this down and be able to see it? But that receiver right there is a Radio Shack receiver as well. It's a realistic ST-84, I think. Wow, I can't even remember things that are current. It's kind of excusable if I'm trying to remember record labels from 30 or 40 years ago. And granted, the turntable is from like 45 years ago, but I look at it daily, so I should be able to remember it. But I can't. So, but yeah, I remember thinking like, wow, those recordings sound muffled, probably just my crappy little turntable. But whenever I would play it on my stepdad's awesome like silver component stereo that he had, it also sounded muffled. So I guess it was just a production thing. But these, they still kind of sound a little bit like that, like kind of over bassy. I'm guessing that was just how Danzig wanted it to sound, because it does sound evil, because Satan is full of bass. But these sound a little bit clearer than that, so that's cool. And this one, November Coming Fire, the first song, Diabolos 88. I remember my copy, it's an instrumental song, and I remember it having a skip, like just in this one part. It was one of those looping skips, so it just like goes, and I thought it was my old turntable messing up my record, and I would like have to hold my finger right on the needle when I would record it to a tape, just to kind of guide it into the groove so that I could have the song the right way. But it turns out, and I only learned this last year, that was actually a production flaw, and that any turntable you listen to it on would have that looping skip. But this one, on whatever they did, whoever made it has solved that problem. So I get to listen to it fluidically. Yay. Alright, let's talk about the records themselves. Okay? First up, Initium, the first Samhain album. Title track, Initium. Danzig being evil and being like, I live, and there's like spooky music in the background, and he's, I don't know, reading some evil poem that he wrote, then it kicks right into your guts with the song Samhain, which is a rockin' little number. I would love to play these songs, but apparently the service that you're watching this on kind of forbids copyrighted music being played on it. Even though you can find like old copyrighted stuff on there if you make stuff now, because when I was selling this turntable that used to be right here, which was that silver Iowa one with the tray that shot out like a CD player, I was just talking about it to put it up on YouTube so that whenever I listed the turntable, I could be like, oh, and here's a link of it in action, and I was playing like the sounds of it, so like whoever's looking at it could hear how it sounds, and I played a little bit of music, and it got flagged, and the video got taken down, so can't do that. But, and which really sucks with this, because you can't really find any Samhain music anywhere. I might be able to find a couple of songs, and if I can, I'll link them in the description. But, and it's really hard to find, any records. You might be able to find CDs. I'm not too sure. But like streaming services, you can't find it. I don't know why. Samhain stuff is just really hard to find. So when I found these two records, I bought the heck out of them. They're like around $25-$30 a piece. So not bad. Yeah, Black Dream, another good song. All Murder, All Guts, All Fun. God, I remember like rocking that song in my mom's car, like when she was giving me driving lessons and stuff. Or not so much during then, because even though like I wanted music to kind of like chill me out, she was like, no, the music's going to be a distraction. But sometimes like she'd let me play music when we were just driving around in general, and since it didn't sound like, evil, gotta kill you, blah, 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 it was like, kind of catchy, and like someone who can't snap their fingers, but it's with my left hand, see? Right hand. Got it. Left hand. No. So if I ever become an amputee and need to get someone's attention with my left hand, I might be hard pressed, or it's getting there. Or I could just trick you. Hold my right hand up to the microphone. But I can't do that if I need to do it in real life, so I won't be deceptive. Anywho, so it was just catchy music, and so then with the kind of muffled sound of the production, you couldn't really tell that he was singing about murder and guts and it being fun. Macabre, another good one. He Who Cannot Be Named. And then side 2 starts with Horror Biz, which is a remake of a Misfits song, Horror Business. Only instead of Psycho 78, he's updated it to Psycho 88. Right now he'd be like on Psycho 2018, since that'd be the most recent 8 year. The Shift, The Howl, and Archangel, which I remember my high school girlfriend thought he was saying Arcade Joe, because he's like, Archangel. She's like, why are you saying like Arcade Joe? And I'm like, I don't know, some dude Joe who's like a pinball wizard, I guess. This record's about 30 minutes long, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I don't remember, and I guess I should remember, because I'm sure I would have tried to have taped it onto a cassette to listen to, and so I would have either had to get a 30-minute tape that would have run out just before getting everything on there, and then I'd have to record it onto a 45-minute tape. But then I'd have other stuff that I'd throw on there, probably some other Misfits stuff. Alright. Oh, and let's take a look at it. Because from what I recall, it's a pretty evil looking record. Now, the one I had was on black vinyl. But this one, blood red. And it's kind of weird because I don't know if color thing, if you could have something that's a certain color, but if you surround it with certain other color, it might make that one color in the center look a little bit different. Like it might make it look more dull or even brighter depending on what the color is. So this should be a black label with white writing, but it looks kind of yellowish, and I don't know if that's the way it's printed or if it's the red that's affecting the way it looks. My guess is probably that it's the former, that it's kind of yellowish looking color. But yeah, it did not come with a lyric sheet. Now, my original one that I had when I was a kid, which wasn't an original, but my initial one that I had when I was a kid, did not have a lyric sheet, but I managed to get a copy of one from a friend of mine who had it. But I've seen some reissues that did have the lyric sheet on like a record sleeve, and then like the other side of the sleeve was like a photo of the band together, and yeah, I would have liked to have had that one, but that wasn't available on this. And let's move on to November Coming Fire. Samhain Grand. Apparently, this is one of James Hetfield's favorite records. Yeah, you know, yeah. Yeah. So that guy made Metallica. I like Initium better. Sorry, Mr. Hetfield, but this does have some good jams on it. Like I said, the aforementioned Diablos 88 with the skip corrected. Yay. In my grip, Mother of Mercy is a good song. To Walk the Night, another good song. Birthright, yeah. Didn't Let the Day Begin. That's an awesome way to end side 1. And then side 2 also starts with a remake of a Misfits song of Halloween 2. So, pretty cool. Then November's Fire, Kiss of Steel, not a bad song. Unbridled, again, not a bad song. Human Pony Girl, a very good song. Same girl that thought they were saying Arcade Joe thought that Human Pony Girl sounded like he was saying You Big Bonehead Girl. So 30 years later, that's what I still hear in my head. You got photos of the boys on the back. And this one, November Coming Fire, is also not on black vinyl, but it's on November Fire Orange. Ooh, feel the heat. It sounds good. I don't know if there are current unofficial releases of what Unholy Passion was another Samhain album, but that was an EP, and I believe it was the second one, which is why this was Samhain 3. And then they followed it up with Final Descent, which was, from what I remember, because I had it on either tape or CD way back when, and it was like, so the band Danzig transitioned from Samhain, but like half the members left, and it was just Danzig and Ari Vaughn, and they, like, John Christ joined on guitar, and Chuck Biscuits from Black Flag and Circle Jerks joined on drums, and the thing behind that band was, and I think this might have been Rick Rubin's idea, was that each album was going to be a rotating, like each album was going to be Danzig on vocals and a different backing band, which kind of seemed what it sort of became after like the fourth album, because the initial lineup of Danzig, Von, John Christ, and Chuck Biscuits lasted for 4 albums, I believe. The third and fourth one, I'm not too big on. I remember seeing an Von interview where he said that the third one was like the best, but I don't know. I like 1 and 2 myself. But anywho, we're talking about Samhain, not Danzig. So this was right before that, or no, I believe, at least this is what I remember thinking back then, that it seemed like the guys from Danzig just went back and recorded some Samhain songs and put out an album. Or maybe it was what they recorded before they actually became Danzig, because it's a Samhain album, but it's got Glenn Danzig and Von, but also John Christ and Chuck Biscuits. That was a very long way of saying that. Sorry, it's pushing 3 a.m. and your boy is tired. Don't know why I waited so long to do this, but my exhaustion is your entertainment, or maybe your exhaustion from having to listen to this. But alright, that concludes today's episode. Let's see if I can reach behind me here and see what we got for next time. Okay. Oh, no, I can't. So, next time is either going to be an old video that I'd recorded that was a in-depth review of that crappy Insignia turntable that I briefly talked about in like a, I think, 30-second video where I just said it's dog shit. It'll either be that or it'll be whatever's next alphabetically after SA. We're still in the S's, or we're just starting in the S's. So maybe it's Soundgarden, maybe it's Star Trek. I can't remember what I got next, so it's a surprise to all of us. We're in this together, gang. Alright. Have a blessed day. I was right. It's Soundgarden. Toodles.